I'm Terry, and this is Tea with Terry, where we talk about thoughts, emotions, and actions. Today, we're going to talk about the action of rest. Now, you may be thinking that rest is the same as sleep. And certainly, resting is a part of sleep, or sleep is a part of resting, is a better way to say it. But we need rest in addition to sleep. And so, why do we need rest? Well, our body was never designed to keep going and going and going without adequate breaks, adequate rest. And this is really key for not just our physical health, but also our emotional and mental well-being. And if we are constantly trying to burn the candle at both ends, that's a saying from the past, right? We're going to see that something in the middle gives way. And so when we think about rest, let's talk about the different types of rest. And the action for today is to practice in exploring these new types or different types of rest. So one of the most well-known types of rest is napping. And when we think about napping, we want to pay attention to how we nap. And first of all, studies tell us that about 50% of the people don't really like to nap. But you could practice something like a 15 or 20 minute, what they call a cat nap. And this really is an opportunity to take a break, lie down, and whether or not you fall asleep, this can be an interesting practice. Perhaps you will fall asleep for a short period of time, and it's okay to nap in the middle of the day. It shouldn't impact the quality of your sleep unless you're sleeping for more than an hour at a time. And then we can go back to the sleep tea with Terry and talk about that. So napping is a way that we can recognize rest. Another way to rest is to simply stop what you're doing, take a break. And it could look like walking outside. It could be sitting down for a period of time, changing, your environment. Anything that is giving you a mental break is a part of practicing rest. So if you've ever had the experience where you've been trying to solve a problem or finish a task that requires a lot of mental energy, and you get to the point where you're sort of tapped out energetically and your brain feels like it's no longer working, then that's a perfect example of taking a step back and resting by switching activities. So for example, if you have been working on your taxes, you might go into the kitchen and chop some vegetables for dinner. So that would be an example of active rest. There's also daydreaming. That can be a really special way to practice rest. And so daydreaming might look like doodling. It could look like, just sitting and allowing your gaze to wander. You could try lighting a candle, staring at a candle flame. And so what we want to do is we want to switch from the activity we've been doing, and we want to choose active rest or actual rest. And so another way would be taking a break from social media, resting your brain, resting that constant attention seeking device that is known as our screens or our phone. So we can implore this rest throughout the day. And the reason it is so important is that we need to have periods of work and periods of rest in order to function at our best. So we've recently been reading the book Burnout in my small group book study. And I want to read something from the book by Emily Nagoski. So she says, if you're thinking I can get by with less, you're right. You can get by, dragging your increasingly rest-deprived brain and body through life. But no one who cares about your well-being will expect you to sustain that way of life for an extended period of time. And the reality is that we can't. we see that it can take a toll. And so when you think about rest, one of the best ways to start is to just explore whether or not you have any resistance to the idea of rest. And is there anything that's holding you back? Do you perhaps have old stories? And regardless of your stories or, what you think about rest, I want you to try practicing some active rest, daydreaming, switching tasks, leaving your phone behind, getting outside, doing something different in the middle of a demanding task, and allow yourself perhaps to take a nap in the middle of the day. All right, well, I hope this T for Teri and this action of rest will help you find your own true wellness.